This is really interesting. On the morning of January 12th, 2007, a man walked into a Washington, D.C. metro station, set up a donation box, and started playing the violin. Over the next 45 minutes, 1,097 people walked by, most of them heading off to work. Out of those people, 27 ended up donating money, and only 7 stopped to listen for at least a minute. In the end, the man made a total of $32, and it was clear that people were largely unimpressed or uninterested by his music. Little did anyone know, however, that they had just walked by Joshua Bell, one of the most talented and internationally celebrated violinists on the planet. A winner of the Grammy and countless other awards, Joshua's music has been described as doing nothing less than telling human beings why bother to live. And that day, he had been playing what's widely considered to be some of the most difficult, emotionally powerful pieces in history on a $3.5 million violin. Just 2 days before playing in that subway, Joshua had been playing to a sold-out theater in Boston with even average seats going for $100 each. Yet practically no one recognized his incredible talent in public. It's interesting to see how sometimes even the most talented people can fail to receive the attention they deserve.
I'm sorry, they just found what in the ice? It's ridiculous and sounds fake, but it is actually true, and also, may I mention, is a little bit scary. Over in Siberia, they have discovered over 13 new viruses buried under the ice. And all of these, get this, are nearly 50,000 years old. What? Now this of course is getting people worried and causing scientists to say this could be a huge threat for the future world and future civilizations such as, our grandkids. Now, they did all kinds of tests on the bacteria and found out they are still live, meaning that obviously they could spread. They're in the middle of nowhere, Siberia at the moment, but if they take them away to labs and stuff, they could, pretty terrifying. And they're calling it the zombie viruses because of how old they are and how long they haven't been found for. The scary part, because of how it's believed these viruses will affect people. Not good. Hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
Facts about Christmas that you never knew. The tradition of decorating Christmas trees goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. They would decorate evergreen trees in the winter to signify the return of spring. Coca-Cola is responsible for how Santa looks today. And that may sound crazy, but in the early 1900s, Coke released a series of ads with Santa wearing all red. And before that, this is how Santa was originally depicted. And finally, Christmas decorating sends 15,000 people to the hospital every year. You gotta go all in.
If I told you to imagine a pre-Columbian Native American dwelling, what would you be picturing? Probably this? Yes, marketable indeed, but you don't truly believe that millions of people across vast cultures on endless lands were all living in one sort of structure, right? Right? Well, teepees were Plains natives' go-to in this area, made by buffalo hide, because the Plains natives tended to do a whole lot of walking, and moving teepees just made sense since they break down in like 20 minutes. The most common Native American dwelling would have been a wigwam. You usually see this attributed to the Algonquin people, which is a large grouping of people, but still not large enough. Yes, they were made here, but they were also made here, and here. A version of this structure could be seen in almost every Native American tribe, even if it wasn't used for dwellings. Moving on, longhouses, while similar to wigwams, are obviously bigger and used to house families. Like, families, not families. Now, a plank house is similar to a longhouse, but instead are pretty permanent living structures. And to give you an example of these houses' uses, both my tribes used all 3 of these houses we've listed, and so was the 4th type. This right here is a roundhouse, and this right here is my great-great-great-grandpa. This special type of house was used for very important tribal or spiritual leaders. During the daytime, it's more like the village's house, used for dances, spiritual gatherings, and sometimes just hanging out. And during the nighttime, it turns into someone's personal dwelling, but it's pretty uncommon out of its region. So for another extremely common type of house, a pit house, which is a grouping of houses that are partially dug into the ground. Next, adobe homes. They were used in this region because of resource availability. I'm sure we all know about igloos and how they were lived in by the Inuit people and First Nations peoples. As you can see, different homes were used for different ways of life. Because imagine a Puebloan deciding he wanted an igloo, or a Gitchwin wanting an adobe home. I can tell you one thing, Eagle definitely can deliver in that message, because different available material, living conditions, and uses resulted in a massive variety of homes. So before you think of teepees, consider where, who, and obviously practicality.
Do we know what's going to happen in 2023? Well, we might. Firstly, if you don't know by now, this is Baba Venga. She was unfortunately blinded by a dust storm at the age of 12. However, she claims this is when she got her second sight for the world. And ever since then, she's been making predictions about the future, and surprisingly, she's been 85% accurate. The first thing she predicted for 2023 is the Earth's orbit will change course. No matter how big the change is, this could impact us us powerfully. Next, I'm not too sure how to feel about this, but she also predicted that the first lab-grown human will be born. Now, even though this is banned, she stated a large bioweapons experiment will be done on humans, which could result in thousands of deaths. And finally, she warned us about a massive nuclear power plant explosion that will happen in 2023. Now, these are all predictions and not facts, so don't be too worried.
Sorry, what the hell is happening in China now? So only the other day, you may remember I made a video based on what was happening in China. Basically, if you don't know, the Chinese people have finally had enough of these COVID restrictions and the government constantly censoring them and putting them under lockdown, that they are finally actually standing up for themselves and rebelling back. As I'm sure you're aware, in China, that's probably not the best idea and probably isn't going to end very well. You know, people go missing all the time there if you literally say one thing. And yeah, pretty scary, gotta be careful. But these people have had enough, and they are sick and tired of being in lockdowns all the time that they are finally speaking up. Today, white blank paper has become their symbol, symbolising of course how they're all censored and can't say anything, can't speak their minds, and are just basically blocked off. This has become the symbol of these protests, with millions of people from all over the country taking part in these. Now of course the government are not happy with these protests, arresting people. I don't think anyone has been harmed so far, but we'll have to see. But yeah, hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.